Welcome to the Optimize You podcast, the place where we're helping you optimize each and every area in your life, specifically in health and fitness, and helping you look good and feel good. And today we are diving in the skill development and the power of being able to say no to people, circumstances, etc., that no longer serve you. Let's dive into it. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the differences between how doing something very small can help set you up for success and almost fast track you to success versus if you don't practice this thing, it can leave you frustrated. It could leave you in the same spot. It could have you asking and questioning why. And it can have you kind of just going in this vicious cycle. And what we're talking about today is your ability to say no is going to dictate the progression and the rate of progression at which you move towards your goals. So, for example, you absolutely have to 100% commit and say yes initially in the first place. And a lot of times on this podcast, we talk about health and fitness, right? On the Optimize You podcast, we are talking about everything how to optimize your well-being specifically towards health and fitness. And if your goal is to look good and feel good, then you're in the right place. And oftentimes when I help either potential clients or current clients right now, one of the big hurdles or circumstances that we face together and that we work through is all of the things that they're currently saying yes to, whether it's subconsciously, whether they're just like, randomly agreeing to things. And I'll give you some stories and some examples about what I'm talking about right now. And you absolutely have to say yes to be able to start something. Like you have to initiate. I always say start sloppy. You have to initiate and say, yes, I'm going to draw a line in the sand. I'm going to commit. I've decided to do this thing. I've decided to pursue a better version of me in health and fitness. Once you've said yes, you actually have to really practice the skill of saying no. Saying no to the old version of you, saying no to the old circumstances that no longer serve you, saying no to the people and environments that aren't conducive and aren't productive, moving you towards and closer to your goal. The better you learn how to say no to those things, the faster you're going to get to your goal. I know a lot of times we talk about speed, and of course we want everything super fast and nowadays, right? It's every corner store that you see, every shopping center, they're going to have super highly processed, quick, readily available, cheap food. And I wouldn't even say cheap now, right? Prices are going up, but it's fast and it's convenient. And that's how we want our results. Now, if there was one thing that was going to help you, it's being able to eliminate as many distractions as you possibly can by simply saying no. That includes people, friends, family members, events, circumstances, things that are not going to move you or move the needle or going to be beneficial in terms of activities that are going to move you closer to your goal. You have to get really good at saying no to those things. Now, I know it's going to be hard for a lot of people because our human instinct is going to be like, I don't want to hurt other people's feelings, or I want to be there for other people, or I don't know how to say no. And I'm going to tell you right now, you can say no. You can learn how to say no. Matter of fact, it's a skill. And the better you get at saying no to people who invite you to circumstances who actually benefit them, you have to remember that. The better you get at telling them no, the better off you're going to be, and the quicker you're going to be able to move in the direction that's beneficial for you. And I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. I know it may feel uneasy. Trust me, I'm a people pleaser. And so I love to do those things. However, I've made a transition for me personally in my life where I was just done saying yes to things. I was the person that said yes to everything because if it made that person happy that invited me to whatever it was, that was enough for me. And I was constantly trying to fill other people's cups. And so, and I still, I still get that feeling of almost uneasiness of like, that I have to say yes to things. And if that's you and you're in that boat, trust me, you're not alone. I feel that. Trust me, I feel those circumstances and I feel the almost pressure. It's almost like pressure to have to say yes to things because you don't want to upset the person, or you don't want to upset that friend group or family members or whoever it is. And so you subconsciously kind of just agree or say yes to things, or you don't necessarily have an excuse. So before you know it, you find yourself at this event, at this party, eating this food, whatever it is that you know damn well deep in your gut, you're like, this isn't beneficial for me. Being around these people isn't beneficial for me. Eating this food isn't productive towards my goals. Like when you find yourself in those circumstances, and then you may potentially find yourself when you get home later that night, the only person that you're looking at in the mirror and that you can blame is yourself, because you were the one that said yes when you should have said no. And so I'm here to tell you that you can still be a good person and tell people no and say no to people and circumstances that no longer serve you. You can still be a good person, I promise you. And by saying no, you're developing and you're sharpening a skill so that you can put yourself in a position of control, of intentionality, and you can adopt the characteristics of the badass version of you so that you no longer have to say yes to things that don't serve you anymore. I know it sounds simple and I know it sounds basic, but if you do those small things, you'll notice that you're going to get more confident in the way that you approach people. You're going to get more confident when people ask you to do things that you don't feel confident in, and that you maybe not even flat out just don't want to do. You just don't know how to say no. So I think saying no is a skill. It has to be developed. You have to go through those uneasy times of, man, this is going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to tell these people no. But you know what? At the end of the day, I know it's the right decision. And when you know it's the right decision and you make it regardless of how you feel in the moment, you are now progressing and moving towards developing that skill and getting better at that skill. So of course, there's going to feel like there's friction at first. Of course, it's going to feel uncomfortable. And I promise you that by saying no to these people, one of two things usually happens. One, they get upset. They get frustrated. They're going to ask you why. Hey, come on. It's only one drink. Hey, it's only one time. Man, you never come out. You never get to see us. Why don't you come on? Why don't you come on with us and hang out? Or it's going to be like, you know what? I respect that. And if that is your decision, you know what? I'm totally for it. So one of those two options usually happens, right? A third one, I guess, is they get frustrated, right? They get upset. They're like, oh man, so-and-so, Matt's not going to the party, or Matt's not going out to the happy hour and having drinks with us. He must not like us. And if it is that option and they do get really defensive, you might shine a light on something that you've been trying to shine a light on for a long time. So maybe those aren't your friends. Maybe those aren't the people who support your goals. Because you got to remember, deep at heart, us, our human nature, we look out for ourselves. Right. So selfishly, we are looking out for ourselves. So those friends, those people, those circumstances that are inviting you to the things, remember, those things benefit them. They make them feel good. And so by you saying no, you're taking joy, a temporary joy away from them. You're like stripping something from them. And we know that subconsciously. So it hurts us a little bit because we don't want to, we may not want to do the thing, but we don't want to hurt the people in the process. And so that's good. That just means you have a good heart. But I'm here to tell you that you can still be a good person and tell people in circumstances that don't serve you, you can tell them no. It's okay to tell them no. Matter of fact, it's required on your journey to success, specifically in health and fitness, to say no to a lot of things. You're going to have to say no to, especially on a consistent basis. You're going to have to say no to certain foods. You're going to have to say no to certain people that want to hang out and keep you bassed up and and constantly interrupt your sleep routine. You're going to have to say no to invites at work luncheons and things like that. It's not to say that you can't go, but nobody's forcing you to eat the food. You're not going to hurt people's feelings in people's pockets because they're putting it on a company card anyways. Like it's not coming out of somebody's pocket, right? Like, so you got to remember those things. And once you do, I promise you, I almost encourage you to hurt some feelings up front, get over that fear of saying no to people and how uneasy it's going to make you feel. And oftentimes it's the fear of what we think that's going to happen because we don't really know, right? So it's that uncertainty. It's that fear of the unknown, which actually makes us hesitant, freak out a little bit, makes us uneasy. But I promise you, once you learn how to say no to those things, you get more confident in it. You start to believe a little bit more. You start to be able to say no to things a lot easier because you've done it multiple times, time and time again. And once you do that, you have now developed the skill of taking back control and intentionality, specifically in improving your health and fitness. And now you've adopted the steps, the characteristics of the badass version of you, the most impressive version of you, the best version of you. So as you're working towards that person, ask yourself, how many things did they say no to? How many things are they currently still saying no to because they've developed the body, the lifestyle, the habits that you desire, right? We're talking about your best version of you. How well did they get at developing specifically the skill of saying no? And I promise you, they're probably an expert, if not a master at it. So I'm not saying we have to do that overnight, but step into the shoes of that version of you, the version of you that says no to things that don't serve them. And when you do it, I promise you, in the end, you are going to be the happiest person versus trying to make everybody else around you as happy as possible just by saying yes and agreeing to everything. So, this one, we're going to keep it short and sweet. It's only at 10 minutes. Hopefully, that was helpful. Remember, saying no is a skill that needs to be developed in order for you to reach the levels that you desire. If you just want to be mediocre and you want to be average, keep saying yes to everything. Keep saying yes to circumstances and everybody that invites you to anything that benefits them. Just keep saying yes. But if you're a badass, you're a go-getter, you desire more from yourself, you're going to have to learn to say no. And it's going to be uncomfortable. And it's territory where most people don't go. But we are trying to go where most people don't. We're trying to achieve things that are stepping into our best shoes, stepping into what we're and seeing what we're capable of. It's going to require some friction. It's going to require you to be stretched a little bit. It's going to require you to be uncomfortable a little bit. And for that, we need to make sure that we're taking one foot in front of the other and we're practicing saying no. So I want you to go out there. I want you to get more repetitions at saying no and understanding that you can still be a good person and say no. It's going to fast track you towards your goals. And I hope this was helpful. If it was, go ahead and share it with a friend, a family member, somebody who you feel like needs to benefit from it and needs to hear this message of, hey, you can still be a good person. You can still be a good girl. You can still be a good boy. You can still be a good dad. You can still be a good mom, and you can say no to things. And so hopefully that was a good reminder. If you haven't heard that already, hopefully I was able to shed some insight, and we'll catch you on the next one.